All right, let's get some She-Hulk action here. We're gonna talk about that, but we're getting like way too many super chats here. Retro Nerd Girl.
Don't say that.
What?
Don't say we're getting way
there are too many super chats. No. We just don't. We never had to do a square up thing, so we're gonna prioritize those. I'm sorry. Retro Nerd Girl says, I agree with you, Chris. She-Hulk is setting up a character arc. You can really tell that after the end of episode 3 when she fends off the attackers. Bruce's warnings about her power ring true. Yeah, I mean, I don't expect there to be a character arc during the series. I think there are 9 episodes. Is that correct? 9 episodes.
I believe so. Yeah.
She-Hulk.
Yeah, it's 9.
9 episodes of She-Hulk. We'll see. My feeling is I've observed that they kind of save character arc payoffs for the movies. Okay, so I see that most of the character. I see these Disney Plus Marvel series as kind of like the prequel comics or the inconsequential events that occur between movies. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Inconsequential events that occur between movies.
I will say that, this idea that she's an empowered woman, she has to figure out how to get through whatever calamity happens her way. When she gets mugged, it dawns on her, oh, I've got superpowers. There's a level of growth there. She's not the, hey, here's the court case. And she just doesn't stand there and say, hey, I know how to do it. She has to figure it out. And I think that's the joy. That's the connection we have, because that's life. We have to figure things out.
She's a flawed female character. Since when have we seen a flawed female character in the Marvel Universe? All the female characters that have been introduced, say, post Captain Marvel, have been the bestest ever, have been awesomer than all the male characters, and they don't need anyone to tell them what to do. And, She-Hulk does that same thing, but I'm trying to explain that dynamic. If you've read that book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, tries to explain the male-female dynamic as men want to fix things, women want to be heard. Mm-hmm. Women want to be loved, men want to be respected. And we got to work on trying to give our partner what they need. And sometimes what they need is not what's instinctively, because for me, it's oh, there's a I'm just going to go fix it. Especially if it's a house problem. I'm very handy around the house. I've put up screen doors. I've assembled grills. I've changed the oil in my car and motorcycle. I know how to do stuff, folks. I know how to do stuff. And a lot of me doing stuff is to avoid being nagged, right? I don't want to be nagged. I'm just let's go. I'm going to throw on a podcast. I'm going to be listening to my podcast in peace. I might crack open some adult beverage, and I'm going to do the task. And then that task is done. So it really is the male-female dynamic. And yes, people are trying to it doesn't apply to everybody. There are relationships that are non-traditional, fine. But generally, this is true. So look up that book.
Yeah, something happens to her in the 4th episode that to me felt like, well, a woke story would never let this happen to her. And,
yeah, it's definitely by the 4th story. Yeah, there's some stuff that people are going to look at. I mean, it's definitely feminist, but a kind of old school feminist, like old school from Mary Tyler Moore, which no one remembers but me, or Ally McBeal, or Boston Legal, or any workplace drama / comedy. It's kind of that. I will say this: Paul Chato had a great criticism. Shout out to him. Go to Call Me Chato. Shout out to Paul Chato and his channel. He pointed out something that was really an astute observation. He said that there should be better supporting characters. She has that, and there are not enough supporting characters where they have their own storylines and they're likable. Whether they're
her best friend, the paralegal. I mean, she's nice, but I don't know much about that character.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they're friends necessarily, and what they offer each other as friends.
So, if anything, the show has failed to produce. And thank you, Albatrax89, for becoming a member. It needs more supporting characters. Brock Samsonite. If any of that were true, Jen would learn a lesson each episode, and it will return to baseline at the end of each episode, and it doesn't. Yeah, but it's sort of like the philosophy, like Larry David when he was doing Seinfeld. His thing was to go against that, which is, these characters learn nothing. These characters learn nothing. In fact, they're just the same asshole at the end of the show as they were at the beginning. So I don't know.
I will say in this episode, she learns a benefit when she's mugged. She learns a benefit of being a superhero and this newfound power from it. In the 4th episode, she finds a negative about being a superhero. I'll leave it at that.
And by the way, Jen's fears of being literally murdered. I live just outside of Los Angeles. That's happening. That's happening. A woman who was an Olympic athlete was recently accosted. Some vagrant threw a rock at her head and hit her in the head. Forget the woman. You can look it up. She posted on Instagram her injuries. This is Los Angeles.
It's pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
I've said it before. Los Angeles is turned into a crime-ridden Gotham City, but there's no Batman. Adrian, you got out. Well, the getting out was good. It is horrific. Now, I am nestled in peaceful Pasadena. It's pretty chill here. And yeah, we're not experiencing those problems, but thank you for that comment, Brock. I'm going to go to the super chat comments here. Phil W for $4.99. She-Hulk has fallen far from the tree of the Bill Bixby Hulk show back in the late 70s.
I think we've all fallen far from
it. Lou Ferrigno, what a waste of a character. I respect your comment. Said no one ever. It was not about woke or feminist hatred. It was just bad writing and terrible CGI from top to bottom. Just my humble opinion.
Yeah, I will say the CGI in this episode is horrendous.
It's
Jen in an office suit. It looks like a tiny head on a Mr. Fantastic body.
That's funny. But look, I'm enjoying the show. I thought it's good. I think it's good, not great. And I know I respect your opinion. That's why when I'm seeing all the reviews that are bad, I'm like, oh, that's a good point. Yeah. It's sort of like, look, you can totally rip apart the Toxic Avenger. I'm still going to love that movie. The first Toxic Avenger, made by Troma Films. Okay. It's weird, and it's bad parts of it. And it's terrible makeup on the Toxic Avenger. I still enjoy myself every time I watch that movie.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it before, but I think She-Hulk is the best Disney Plus Marvel series. But at the same time, that's somewhat of a backhanded compliment.
It is. It's like that's. I think you and I both said that it's the best Disney Plus Marvel series, and the bar is very low, because at least knows what it is and is working. And I like that it's 25 minutes.
Yeah, and they're I feel like they're returning to better storytelling than they had with the other series.
Right. And it doesn't mean that there's not bad writing. Paul Chato also did another thing where he broke down what's missing. And this applies to almost all modern writing and entertainment. Writers don't know how to do subtext. Paul Chato has done videos about this. So go to his Call Me Chato channel, which is blowing up. He's a former TV executive, and we're going to get him on the show one of these days. We're going to get him on the show just to chat live. But Want Biscuit says, Larry David also forbid all sentimental moments on Seinfeld, but She-Hulk is no Seinfeld, not even close. Oh my God, I would never have suggested that. Seinfeld is freaking brilliant. And Curb Your Enthusiasm, awesome. I mean, there's seasons that are better than others. But yeah, Want Biscuits agree.
So is it better than Full House?
Yeah, and then thank God I'm a guy and never have to worry about getting murdered, says Shucksy. Dude, okay, exactly. I don't go to certain parts of LA at night. I don't go, okay? I'm just like, like a friend of mine wants me to go to this bar in downtown LA tonight to meet up, and I'm not going to go. Like, no, I don't know where I'm going to park. shitty neighborhood. No, thank you. So no, it's true. Yeah, we, you know, yeah, we, you know, I did not saying it doesn't mean that isn't also true. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And thank you, Michael Gaskin, for becoming a YouTube member. Check out the members tab for a whole bunch of stuff. We got to post some more things in there, Alan.
Yeah. I'm a little behind.
Well, a week from today, by the way, Alan will be at D23. He is going to be live on the floor from D23 during our Friday show. And then he's going to be posting things in our members only from D23. Alan, your goal is to get in the room when they announce the cast of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I'm definitely, if I have to stand in a very long line or if I can get press access, I will do that. The other thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to see if Walt Disney makes an appearance anywhere at D23.
Yeah,
I feel like they've literally put him on ice, and we'll see if he shows up.
And Amanda Nowicki says, I didn't understand the extra scene at the end of She-Hulk episode 3. What was the point of it?
Twerking was the point.
It's just to be funny. I think it's just a funny button. One of my favorite post-credit scenes in a Marvel movie was it the second Spider-Man film? Spider-Man, I always get those No Way Home.
Which Spider-Man are you talking about?
Spider-Man movie with the word home in it is it? But it's the one where like Captain America, he's on like that TV screen. They kind of had the cart in there. He's like, so you're in detention. Like,
oh yeah,
that was hilarious. And it's just,
it was the educational video.
It's just to be funny. I just think that also even Amanda, I know you're asking that question. Like there is no point to it except to be funny. And I feel like that's okay. I feel like now we're I feel like some of the criticisms of She-Hulk is like taking a microscope to like every single detail. I'm like, did we used to do that to all the old? I mean,
yeah, it's like, here's why this joke didn't work. And then therefore this show.
And I get it.
Yeah.
It's fine. I just think that, I mean, this is the same studio that made the Marvel movies you did like is making Marvel, TV shows and movies you don't like. And I think they're going through a slump. After Endgame, I feel like there was no plan except to introduce a lot of female characters. And I don't know how well that's going over. And
I want to see big superhero booty. So
that's... Poopa Chalupa for 5. I hope I got that right, Poopa Chalupa. Yeah. The Bible tells men to love their wife and women to respect their husband. Men and women receive love differently. It's only taken me, half a century to figure that out.
Yeah.
I'm old, man.
Bible's been around a lot longer than that. I'm just saying.
But exactly. What I'm saying is you are absolutely right, Poopa Chalupa. It's men and women do receive love differently. You have to figure out that dynamic to have a working relationship. And it's also respect is a huge part of it too. Respect. So thank you for that. Dempsey, another point about the speech from She-Hulk. She is able to have those selfish thoughts because of the sacrifices of Hulk and his friends. She was sheltered from the real problems by Hulk. Absolutely, yeah. But I think that this is why I like Tatiana Maslany as this character, Jen Walters. She's flawed, and I don't think we've seen, correct me if I'm wrong. I think if you've learned anything from having conversations here, look, I'll call myself out if I was wrong about something, or my opinion can change. Certainly it changed about WandaVision, which started out great and then just was awful by the end. But none of the new female characters since the introduction of Captain Marvel have been interesting in the least, because they've all been perfect and the bestest ever. And they've been confronted with problems, but none of those problems came from themselves. Right? I mean, I guess you could say Wanda turning evil if you think about it, Vision was effectively, Vision's not alive. Is Vision alive? They ever? Vision's a robot.
Vision was kind of the Data of the series. He had hangups that way, but in terms of, in the case of WandaVision, he was pretty much the unwitting puppet of Wanda, and I think that's, I think that's what I appreciate about that character arc was the fact that, he finally realized he was being played by the woman he loved.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that, Dempsey. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, when you look at all the female characters, they've just been awesome and better than the male characters. Although Kate kind of looked up to Hawkeye.
Yeah, I mean, Wanda was incredibly flawed. I mean, that was the whole point of WandaVision was that she caused this. And then even though there was Agatha in the background kind of motivating her, the problem Wanda had carried itself into Doctor Strange.
Yep. Flem, what happens in She-Hulk is considered canon in the MCU. That's why it has more weight behind it. Yeah, as opposed to the Harley Quinn cartoon, which it doesn't affect the movies.
Yeah.
Right. The events in She-Hulk definitely affect the movies.
Well, I think that's why they're giving her the Abomination and soon Wong as clients. That they're not the top tier characters, and so they're not going to affect the overall MCU in terms of story and universe.
Right. Dempsey, some of these people think that feminine equals weak, and that just isn't true. Yes, I can attest to that. I have 3 sisters, had a very strong single mom who raised me, and yeah, feminine does not equal weak. There you go. And Christopher Miller says, happy birthday, Chris. Celebrate by poop. Get out your poop book, Chris. I have some here. If you send me a large enough self-addressed stamped envelope, I'll send you a copy of my book. It's called Celebrities Poop. It is a parody of the book Everyone Poops, written by Taro Gomi, which is one of the best-selling children's books of all time. You can buy it on Amazon. I believe you can buy this book on Amazon. But also, if you send me a large enough envelope, I'll send you a copy. I'll even sign it. You should keep this book. Keep it in the bathroom. Keep it in the bathroom. I don't even know if I should show this on screen.
Oh my gosh.
Should I show this on screen? All right, I'm going to show that on screen.
Oh, you.
Oh no. Oh no. That's awful. All right.
Yeah, by the way, Celebrities Poop
strike on the channel. What?
Celebrities Poop is on Audible.
It's on Audible.
Yeah.
It's an Audible. You can get the Audible version of the book, which includes an accompanying song. That's not a lot. It includes a song that accompanies it. I think I might even have the song on here. Do I? I don't have it here.
No, I think it's funny because I'm looking at I put Celebrities Poop in Amazon, and I'm getting a lot of really cool stuff that's not your book.
Darn it. Dang it.
No, I mean, your book comes up first. I'm just saying the other results are quite.
We missed this one. Bert for 5 says top 3 Rings of Power moments. 1, Elrond and Prince Durin's exchanges. Yeah, literally 2 guys talking, no special effects. 2 guys talking with his wife. We should get I forget her name.
Disa.
Princess Disa. She turned out to be as insufferable as the interviews that the actress did. The character's actually entertaining. The character is likable. 2, Elrond's introduction. And 3, seeing the visuals as they approach Valinor, the Undying Lands. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have 2 hours of content. You're gonna have a couple moments that'll be decent. So they were. Victor Fontaine, I just want She-Hulk to get naked and jump rope just like in the comics.
I think we read that one. Yeah.
That might happen. Might happen. I do think that what's interesting, there is a moment which hasn't happened in the first 4 episodes where she goes out, she's wearing a dress, and people are commenting on how good she looks in the dress. It's like, yeah, it's like women should be able to be sexy in the Marvel universe. Okay.
Yeah, I think the bigger point was she didn't want to get, she wanted her notoriety to come from herself and not from the fact that she was She-Hulk. And I think that's
right.
Another struggle she has in this show.
Adrian Curry, who's a member. Thank you, Adrian. And I miss Adrian. She's such a giving soul. But back when Adrian lived in Los Angeles, she was so kind. She would have like a sort of Christmas Eve gathering where people would get together. She'd serve food. It was just like a bunch of people from the nerd community. What happened to all those people? They all went their separate ways, I guess. But Adrian got out of LA when the getting out was good. Yeah. So I feel pretty comfortable. And Pasadena doesn't feel like LA at all. Pasadena feels like the Midwest. And it's like Orange County. But Adrian says, men need praise for the manly things they do. It helps them puff their chests and feel like the leader of the pack. Women need validation for their feelings, regardless if you think we are insane. I've learned that. I have learned you have to be patient and you have to kind of be in tune to what your partner's needs are, right? Like, what do they need? Well, they need me to just kind of listen, you know?
Yeah. Just shut up. That's the big one.
That's
the one I've heard so many times.
Okay.
Just shut up.
By the way, that is a challenge for me, is to just be quiet. As Alan well knows. Alan knows, I talked.
Well, I think the entire chat knows too.
Said no one ever. Is Amber Heard's poop in that book? I don't know. Is Amber Heard in the book? I don't think so. But I know that Michael Moore's in the book, Oprah's in the book, Justin Bieber, Trump is in the book. It's just Howard Stern is in the book. It's just for fun. I just did it as a goof. Thank you, said no one ever. Foz, very honest, but you need to be flawed in interesting ways, not just an asshole. Sorry, she's not likable. That's fine. But I feel like Tony Stark is a likable asshole. He's an asshole. Can women be kind of bitchy and be likable? Like, maybe. I don't know. I think,
Yeah. And I think there's merit to the idea that Marvel's been putting out such mediocre work that maybe when they do something slightly right, it exponentially feels like they're doing great.
Poopa Chalupa says, looks like Amazon pooping on Tolkien. And Patrick Lemire says, here's the bottom line. Is She-Hulk good enough to make a consumer pick up D+? No. I would not subscribe to Disney Plus just for She-Hulk. I bought a subscription at D23 3 years ago, and I paid in advance for 3 years because Mandalorian was coming, all these things.
It was a good deal too.
It was a good deal. It was really cheap. It was like $3 a month or something. It was crazy. So I just was like, I'm going to just get this deal. And so I'm kind of stuck with it. Like, I just have it. And so there we go. And now we know why Chris talks so much. He grew up in a house full of women, says VDR. First of all, that's true. There's a lot, I feel like this is like a weird thing I've said to friends of mine before. I was raised by women, but I mean that saying that like I was raised by wolves. And so also I feel like I know how to talk to women in the sense that I can translate what men are doing. And it's mostly like, oh yeah, that guy's an asshole. You're wasting your time. So I know, like, I kind of feel like because I had like my mom, 3 sisters, 2 aunts. And the 3 sisters was like, I had a sister that was from my mother and father. I have a stepsister and I have a half sister. So I have every kind of sister you can have. So, yeah, that's why I talk. Maybe that's why I talk a lot, but also like, I feel like I have, maybe an understanding or an insight, but it's not a superpower. I can tell you that.
See, I grew up in a household of men. I now live in a household of women. And now that my kid is starting high school, now boys are starting to come around, and now I've got to deal with that.
Well, all you need, Alan, is a gun, and make sure it's like on a rack. And when the boys come over, you're very cold to them. I'm just assuming. Adrian Curry says Alan is the perfect heterosexual life mate for Gore. Maybe that's why we get. I really think that Alan and I get just our sense. You gotta have a sense of humor. You can't work at Film Threat and not have a sense of humor. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love you too.
A Knight for $4.99, retired after 20 years in the military. Thank you for your service. My grandfather was in the Navy in World War II. I had an uncle who served in Vietnam, and my son is currently a U.S. Marine. So there you go. I think Hollywood needs to interview women from the military to get real life depictions of strong females. Absolutely. So there you go. Amanda Nowicki, my husband is working on shutting up and just listening.
Yeah, work is the key word there.
I will say this, Amanda. First of all, it takes a lot. We just want to fix it. It's like, oh, you work with someone at work who's an asshole. Here's what you should do. I've literally, I've just learned to not give advice.
Well, I mean, part of it is we want to fix it so you'll stop complaining about it.
That's exactly. Oh my God, Alan, We want to fix it so you'll stop talking. Tertiary adjunct, 7 of 9 was bitchy and likable. True facts. Want biscuits, you have to be the type that people love to hate, like a great heel wrestler, Ric Flair, Roddy Piper, Bobby Heenan.
Mhm.
But what you can't be is so awful that no one wants to watch you. Again, your mileage may vary. I didn't see it that way, but I also didn't think it was the greatest thing ever. But we are Film Threat. I guess we're kind of standing in contrast with other places that, you know.
I mean, I will say Jordan Peterson just put out a piece that's very similar to what they're saying, that this idea of men being monsters, raising them as monsters, but then teaching them to control their powers, so to speak.
Dempsey, her being hired only for being a super is a great look into what I would imagine it feels like to be hired because of your skin or gender. It is the soft bigotry of low expectations on display.
Yeah.
Ah, good comment.
I mean, I think that was the second episode was all about that.
Laura Buckles, Chris is the woman whisperer. I do have I have a lot of female friends. And I had a girlfriend years ago that said that she would judge a man like, are you capable of having a female friend? Like, you just have female friends. And that was kind of how she judged men. Well, like, to be a boyfriend prospect is, are you capable of being friends with a woman? I know, weird thing. I'm sure there's something sexist wrapped up in there, but thank you, Laura, for your comment. Solomon Thornton, happy birthday, Chris, Sir Chris. Just want to let you guys know that the reason why I love Film Threat is because of your different views on film. Ever since I subscribed, my film library has expanded. And Shucksy is here to say, the thing is, Tony Stark is likable because he is a good, flawed, well-written character. She-Hulk is insufferable because she is obnoxious to the audience and terribly written. Fair point. Fair point. Reese, Corinne, such a cute work couple. Chris's son is a Marine. Excellent. Rah. Fellow Devil Dog, says Lance Corporal Waffles. Yes. He is. He's traveled all over. Let's see. Solomon Thornton says, okay, Solomon Thornton. Wait, did I read this one?
I think so.
Ever since I subscribed, my film library has expanded.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, sir. I'm a little loopy because I've only had one cup of coffee. Sorry, Solomon. Edmund Ibarra, looks like Amazon ordered Lord of the Rings from Wish. And
not with the money they paid for it.
From North Jersey. How did Marvel go full comedy? There were like 2 jokes in the Avengers, Hulk punching Thor in the arm like a friend and knocking him across town in Puny God. Now She-Hulk thinks she is Joan Rivers. Yeah, it's weird. And Thor Love and Thunder was just so jokey that it felt like nothing mattered. Like there were no serious consequences. And I just think the stuff with the kids at the end was dumb. What?
I like the fact that when, Guardians of the Galaxy, when Marvel went into outer space, that's when it became jokey as opposed to the serious stories that were happening on Earth. And so I kind of understand why they did it with Thor, but I feel like now with Doctor Strange, they're bringing the jokey nature back to Earth. And I think that's a bad mistake. I don't think it's a trend they should be going down. Gotcha.
All right. Continuing on with our comments here, we're going to switch gears for a second. And we have Lynn Shea joining us in about 25 minutes. Brock Samsonite, Jamila Jamil said she specifically requested to shoot a version of the courtroom fight scene where She-Hulk punched her in the vagina, speaks volumes of the creator's maturity level. Well, I don't mind it. I mean, like, Titania's, they really showed off her assets, if you know what I'm saying. Like, and I didn't expect that coming from an all-female writing staff. Like, and when you meet the character of Madison in the next episode, I'm surprised that character comes from there's stuff that's coming in episode 4, and then we're going to be in beyond territory for Alan and I. So,
yeah. I like childish locker room humor, and I'm glad there's elements of that in this.
It can work.
Yeah.
There
have been entire movie franchises built on childish locker room humor.
Solomon Thornton says, I heard that Universal Studios' license for the Hulk may expire next year. They might do a World War Hulk film soon. hope so. I mean, why don't they just partner with Universal to do it? Like Spider-Man has been, like they do with Spider-Man and Sony. They kind of help. They co-productions, it could happen. But
Sony made a lot of money doing it.
They are setting up. Did the scene with Hulk? Did that one scene happen in this episode, or is it next episode, Alan?
Which one? Which one are you talking about?
With Hulk that's coming up.
The Hulk. I thought that passed. I think Hulk
already?
Is done. I think Hulk went to outer space already. He did in the last
good. Episode. He did go to outer space. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the last episode because she was calling him about taking on the Abomination case.
Dempsey has a comment about Lynn. I'm going to read it when Lynn's here. So there you go. And John Weilbecker, Baker. God, I hope I say your name right, John. I'm sorry. It is revisionist history to say there weren't a lot of jokes in Avengers. Almost everything with Coulson and Cap, Iron Man mocking Thor, Doubth Thou Mother, No, You're Wearing Your Drapes, so much more. Yeah, I don't think it's revisionist. I just think that like the thing that stands out about those movies is I think the jokes were less.
Yeah.
But the stakes were there in the Avengers films. The stakes.
Well, I mean, I see this comparing Avengers with Guardians of the Galaxy. There's a very jokey tone with Guardians of the Galaxy versus the very much more serious tone of Avengers.
I think that's when the Marvel films kind of pivoted. Is the success of Guardians of the Galaxy, and there's a lot of humor in Guardians of the Galaxy. That's when the Marvel movies really leaned into humor, but there was always humor as a part of it. It was interesting. I saw Kevin Feige once at a tribute to Richard Donner at the Academy. Kevin Feige was there, a lot of other people, and Kevin said that when people ask about Marvel movies, like they say Marvel movies are superhero movies, he said they're not really superhero movies, they're like old Hollywood movies. And old Hollywood movies defied genres, right? When you look at old Hollywood, they were adventure. They combined adventure, romance, comedy, epic storytelling. They weren't any one type of film. So what Kevin Feige, at least when he gave this speech, which was a tribute to Richard Donner before he passed away, Richard Donner was there. God, this might have been like 5 years ago or more. But Kevin Feige gave this great speech, and it was so cheap. It was like $5 to go see this thing. And they talked about one of my favorite Richard Donner movies that no one has ever seen. Put this on your recommend list. It's a movie called Inside Moves. Inside Moves stars John Savage, and it was the movie that he made directly after Superman. He had kind of a bad experience with Superman working with the Salkinds, very well documented. They kind of tricked him into making 2 movies for the price of 1 movie. He thought he was directing 1 movie. He was directing the script that was like 300 pages. Why am I doing a 300-page script? And it's because they were making 2 movies. It's so fun. It's so comical how stupid this is. So they signed Richard Donner to make the 1 movie, and they were going to split it into 2 movies, but didn't tell him. They did this. This is something they did before. These producers were really shysters. They did the 3 Musketeers, and they did the same thing with the 3 Musketeers, and they made the 4 Musketeers. So they were going to try to do the same thing with Superman 1 and 2. Anyway, so Richard Donner, to kind of as a palate cleanser, made this small, it feels like an indie movie about this guy, John Savage, who's depressed, and he tries to commit suicide and then survives, and he's disabled. And he goes to this bar where a bunch of disabled people hang out and befriends them. And it's a character study. Brilliant film. It's called Inside Moves, starring John Savage. If you can find it, see that film. But I will say this. What the Marvel movies were aspiring to be, according to what Kevin Feige said, and I agree with him, the early Marvel movies fit this, is they were kind of everything, right? There's drama, there's romance, there's comedy, there's adventure, there are high stakes. It wasn't a superhero movie per se, but it was like a kind of movie that Hollywood used to make. And now they've kind of, gone off the deep end, I guess. And they've leaned into comedy in a way that makes it feel like things don't matter. Vamp King says, how did Titania get powers? Is everyone in the MCU just showing up with powers now so that these new heroes continue to have villains without the work of building them up?
Yeah, I think that's where we're headed. I think that's where
we're headed. Is just like, well, this person's just here. This person's just here. We're not going to be getting, and according to what I've heard, that the Fantastic Four, there's not even an origin for the Fantastic Four. They're just the Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Patrick,
X-Men, mutants.
sorry. Patrick Lemire says, right, Tony Stark was always funny in a snarky way. Tony Snark, so to speak. Not the Batman. Whedon ruined a whole generation of writers, though. Everything has to have witty quips now. True.
Yeah, you should see some of the indie comedies we get. That's very true.
Yeah, from North Jersey, those older films were not comedies. These new ones are. I would agree that comedy was an element, but it wasn't dominant. Now I feel that, especially with Thor: Love and Thunder, I think it irritated a lot of people that it was too much of a comedy, right? It was just too much, and it feels like things don't matter. Shucksy, Marvel scripts are now written by a focus group consisting entirely of robots. I would agree. And Brock Sampson, Chris, have you heard anything about the Darkman reboot? I have not. And then Mason Williams, I don't know. I think Whedon originally brought some needed levity to the stories from the start, but it started spinning out of control as more movies were made. I think the tipping point was Guardians of the Galaxy, when that succeeded so unexpectedly, because it's like no one outside of me had heard of Guardians of the Galaxy before that. Like, and it was total comedy, like, and it worked. But, you know, comedy is just like, look at like the first Raiders of the Lost Ark, that movie with Indiana Jones. There's comedy in that, right?
Yeah. And they definitely amped it up in the third one.
The new breed of Hollywood writers are creatively bankrupt list checkers, says the Alex Zorba. I think part of that also comes from the head writer and the producers.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. I'm going to get Lynn Shea is going to be joining us in about 15 minutes. Laura Buckles. I remember Chris Pratt saying someone asked him before Guardians of the Galaxy came out, how does it feel to be in the first Marvel movie that's going to suck? They were wrong. The first movie's really good. It's the best Guardians movie. So
of the two, yes.
Yeah. So and then Solomon Thornton, a comment sort of, you know, going back to like, oh wait, we got to see, are we getting more comments on the fact that we just posted a poster? Is that
oh my God, let me check.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Did we lose? It says automatic unfollow. Did we lose followers on our Instagram, the Film Threat Instagram?
I'm sure we did. Yeah, no new comments have come in since we started.
I think we lost 4 followers.
Oh no. Oh no, what do we do?
What do we do? I don't know, Alan. What do we do? Am I able to comment?
Yeah, it depends on what account.
Clown shit. Well, it's good. We're getting a lot of engagement. I'm going to get a notice from Instagram that's going to be like, your post has more engagement. Whatever. Solomon Thornton, in 1984 by George Orwell, it was all about people bending the knee and not having different opinions. It sucks we can't have a different opinion about something without being attacked. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. It does suck. Let's see. Lance Corporal Waffles. Age of Ultron felt like he went too hard with the quips. True, especially in the opening. Agreed. Guardians is a Marvel movie I'm actually looking forward to. Guardians 3, I assume. We don't know. Is it just mixtape Guardians Part 3? I don't know what to say. But yeah, no, it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
It's a poster. Get over yourselves, people. Thank you, Amanda Nowicki. Could you post that on Instagram for us, please? Go to our Instagram, follow us. It's a poster. Jesus. Mike, wait for 5. Happy birthday, Chris. Have a great Labor Day weekend. Thank you, Alan and Chris, for your wonderful reviews. Your friend from Seattle, Mike. All right, Mike. Thank you for that. I'm going to be seeing another friend from Seattle tonight. Do you know Alan Pruzan? Alan Pruzan are getting together. Alan Pruzan and I are getting together tonight for drinks, and we're going to hang out. So, Mike, you might know Alan.
Because everyone in Seattle knows each other.
They do. I'm just assuming. Patrick Lemire says, I have to defend writers to a degree. Who knows what they turned in and how many uncredited people tweaked it? That's true. Like writers, I mean, the biggest complaint about writers is like what they begin with isn't the thing that they end with. So, yeah. Alan, you're gonna have to take over on the comment stuff. I'm gonna take a quick break as we get ready for. I'm running to the bathroom. I'll be right back, real quick.
Okay, so yeah, Glenn, if you can help me out here, let's go to Vamp King. It would be ironic if Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was one of the darkest MCU movies. That would be ironic, and I think, I think that would be an interesting take. That it's not just silliness, but at the same time, I think, James Gunn does seem to be able to balance the comedy and the darkness. Let's see. Moving on. John Beecher. Beecher. Sorry if I screwed up your name. People love to quote Orwell without the nuance that it wasn't just about thought police, but it's also about people in power using propaganda to change discourse to a pro-fascist regime. Yes, very interesting. Of course, that could never happen today. And of course, that currently is not happening now. So thankfully, Orwell wrote that in the past, and he has no idea what he's talking about. All right. Rise Corin, even Chris poops. That's right. I've never seen it, but I've heard rumors. John Platt. Hopefully Guardians of the Galaxy will be in. Okay, yeah. Just make sure I hadn't read that before. Hoping Guardians of the Galaxy Part 3 will be another James Gunn tour de force and zero wokeness. Yeah, it'll be interesting. As for what it's worth, the video of the Marvel panel is on YouTube. From San Diego Comic-Con, the cast was there, or at least half the cast was there. And they did. I don't know. I feel somewhat optimistic about this, not knowing anything other than what I saw at that panel. But it seems like, let me see. Apparently this is Rocket's story. That most of what happens in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, at least the main theme about it, is about Rocket and his origins.
Can I say something really weird?
Yeah.
That is totally out of context. Has nothing to do with movies and everything. Okay, so this is just something I'm going to say. If you are someone who cares about the environment, I think maybe we may be way overplaying some of this world crisis stuff that's going on. And I think that also contributes to depression. But here's what I'll do. When I go to the bathroom, I wash my hands. After I go to the bathroom, I do that every time. Instead of taking a paper towel, or instead of using some of those gross blow dryers, here's what I do is I take my wet hands and I just go like this. One, it could make my hair look cool. And two, I don't use paper towel or energy of a dryer. The more you know. I need a the more you know, like little thing go like this. That's just all you do. Like if you, now it just doesn't work for every hairstyle, but for what I do is I wash my hands and I just go, all right, we're good.
Oh, I missed the step between washing your hands there. So I thought it was just,
oh, you did? Okay.
I thought it was just right from the toilet too.
Adrian Curry, lol. Alan's sarcasm, 10 out of 10. Why do you think that we have been working together for so long?